Psychiatric help, 5 cents. The doctor is in, says the sign on Lucy's booth. Charles Schulz created a world in which mental health care may not be great, but it is at least affordable. Charlie Brown sits down and tells Lucy, I have deep feelings of depression. What can I do about this? Snap out of it. 5 cents, please. This is not good advice, nor is it given with any compassion or understanding. And though on rare occasions she drops some actual wisdom, Lucy is perpetually tactless and untrustworthy. And so no one in the Peanuts world feels safe around her. Half an hour ago, I had half a mind to rewrite this homily, given our program this afternoon, if I had the time. I know we have our problems and we have a lot of work to do in building a more trusting and safe community. Nevertheless, I am moved, sometimes to tears, when I think of the advice I have received in this community for the past 11 years. Some of it has come as responses to Embertide reports from the 4 ministers provincial I have had. Some has come to the whole community at once in instruction through our education programs, or as our director of Convocation Liturgy and Music tries to improve our chanting. Much advice has come in casual conversations with individual brothers. Some of this advice has changed my life. I imagine that is true for all of us. There have been a few occasions in which advice to me in the community has been unsolicited and unhelpful. Some rare occasions in which advice has been unsolicited but helpful. And some very rare occasions in which advice has been solicited but unhelpful. This too may be true for you. But for the most part, it has been solicited and helpful, with appropriate discernment in speech and action, because it comes within a community where I receive and give love and trust. And I would guess that when all of you give advice to people outside this community, it is often solicited and nearly always helpful and appreciated, because our rule and vows encourage us to love, to be voices of safety and trust for others. For advice to be well received, it needs to come within a safe relationship, a community in which there is trust, respect, and love. The Acts of the Apostles is in many ways the story of the building community around the new theology, the new expression of faith that had arisen in the 1st century CE. The cast of characters is expanded from the original 12 disciples, and we meet other people who have been or become essential to the spread of the teachings of Jesus. We say that everyone who comes to this community changes the community, and that seems to have been just as true for the early church. Priscilla and Aquila were prominent members of this new community, and clearly considered to have some expertise in nascent Christian theology. In addition to this passage in Acts, the 2 of them are mentioned in multiple epistles. Paul appears to have considered them dear colleagues and friends. We imagine some people in the early church might have had a favorite tent maker. The Reverend Dr. Will Gaffney points out that in almost all of these mentions, Priscilla's name comes first, rare for husband-wife mentions of the time. This may suggest that Priscilla was the more knowledgeable of the partnership. There is a theory among some biblical scholars that Priscilla is the author of the letter to the Hebrews. Our reading today gives us the brief story of the couple's advising of Apollos, who it seems knows a lot, but doesn't really know a lot. Priscilla and Aquila took him aside and explained the way of God to him more accurately. There isn't a lot of information here, but what I infer, at least from the NRSV and a couple of other translations I consulted, is a gentle, kind advising. It seems to have been taken well and effectively as Apollos proceeds to be a helpful minister to others. Each one of us came to this community with a certain amount of knowledge and a certain amount of gifts for ministry. And this community took us aside and explained the way of God to us more accurately. Advice given from a place of wisdom and love, and in the context of trust and security, can be the work of God and a manifestation of God's love, giving us the grace and strength to minister to others, passing on that love and safety to them. It is God who girds me about with strength and makes my way secure. He makes me sure-footed like a deer and lets me stand firm on the heights.